I bid you welcome.
I welcome you to my house.
Welcome to my house.
Welcome to my home.
Hello horror hounds, welcome to my horror house and welcome back to another Monster Monday, our look back at the films of Godzilla. We've reached 1966 and Ebirah, Horror of the Deep. When Yata is lost at sea, his brother Ryota steals a yacht with his two friends and a man who turns out to be an on-the-run bank robber to go look for him. During a storm, their yacht is attacked by a monster and they're shipwrecked on a tropical island. Wouldn't you know it, but the island is also the secret base for Red Bamboo, a terrorist organisation who are manufacturing weapons of mass destruction. That old story. They use the sea creature as well as a giant condor to protect the island from snoopers approaching either by sea or air. Red Bamboo has also enslaved the natives of neighbouring Infant Island to use as their workforce. Our castaways, with the help of a beautiful escaped infant islander, discover that Godzilla is also on the island hibernating. Maybe if they can wake him up, the confusion will help them put their escape plan into action. Ebirah is the name of the sea creature and he's essentially a giant lobster. While it might be hard to make a man in a giant lobster suit look amazing fighting a man in a Godzilla suit, Ebirah is surprisingly horrifying and Lovecraftian when you only see his giant claw rising from the waves to smash helpless ships. The giant condor is another inhabitant of the island, and although he's a flying threat, he's no stand-in for Rodan. He's a brief annoyance to Godzilla at best and gets roasted with atomic breath fairly swiftly. Mothra returns now fully grown from the larval form we saw in Mothra vs. Godzilla and Ghidorah the three-headed monster. To be fair, she is hibernating for most of the film but rushes in during the final act. And of course Godzilla, who becomes strangely fascinated by that female islander Dio. It's been suggested that this is because the main monster was originally intended to be King Kong. Now we know Kong has form when it comes to building attachments to tiny human women, but it's just plain weird to see Godzilla do it. The film was set on an island specifically to cut down on special effects costs. Godzilla's not up and about until 50 minutes into the movie, but then he is straight at Ebirah for a good old ruck. They throw a rock back and forth, which is becoming a tedious staple of these films. It's like a weird game of keepy-uppy until Godzilla boils the water around Ebirah with his atomic breath. It is nice to see Godzilla fighting in water as well. I hope we get more of this. Red Bamboo's Air Force has a crack at Godzilla. These guys are seriously funded for a terrorist organisation. So there's lots of model planes on dive bombing runs against the Big G. But this time it's a lot more enjoyable than the similar scenario at the end of Godzilla Raids Again. Godzilla smashes them with his tail, they explode between his hands, and there's lots and lots of model planes, essentially firing fireworks at the man in the Godzilla suit. Godzilla also attacks Red Bamboo's secret base. Many model buildings lost their lives on that day. Godzilla and Ebirah have a great second bout, and this time the fight goes underwater, which is fantastic to watch. Mothra swooshes in and has a brief scuffle with Godzilla as she tries to save her people and get them off the island before Red Bamboo's nuclear device explodes. I love the idea of another aquatic monster, but a giant lobster is ultimately a silly enemy for Godzilla. The plot is knockabout, the colours are bright, the baddies are evil, and their secret base has more than a whiff of James Bond or perhaps Austin Powers. This is the first time humans have unleashed a nuclear device against Godzilla, although they've threatened it in the past. Silly humans, that won't do anything. This is also the first time humans have unleashed Godzilla with a view to him helping them, albeit tangentially. At the end, the humans feel sorry for Godzilla and are actually happy to see him survive the nuclear explosion. How far we've come from the terror of 1954's Gojira, and how much further we'll go in the next instalment.